That same night I crept downstairs myself into the Countess's room and carried Kaspar up into his new home in my little attic room. As soon as I got him there, I sat him on the bed beside me and gave him a good talking to. "None of your yowling, Kaspar. If Skullface finds us up here, we're done for, me and you both. And you've got to eat. You've got to get better, you hear me?" He didn't yowl, but he didn't eat either. He just lay there curled up on my bed, sleeping and hardly moved. When I left him to go on duty downstairs in the lobby, he took very little notice of me, and he took very little notice of me when I came back either. Mary O'Connell tried to feed him, tried to talk to him into it. He wasn't interested. Almost everyone I know. We tried chicken, salmon, even caviar once. Anything Mary could filch from the kitchens without being noticed. All of it went uneaten. He wouldn't touch anything, not even his milk. Just in case the Countess's relatives turned up, I put it about everywhere. We all had, that Kaspar had escaped from the Countess's rooms and could not be found. I made a great song and dance about organising a search for the whole hotel, pretended to be beside myself with worry, and I asked everyone to keep an eye out for him. Mr. Freddy knew what I was up to, of course, but besides Mary and Luke and all the gang on our corridor, no one else did. So now I could only take Kaspar for his walk at night time, when hardly anyone would be about. I'd hurry out the back way, through the tradesman's entrance, with Kaspar hidden under my coat. While we were out in the park, he seemed to perk up for a while, but it never lasted. Back in my room, he would curl up again and close his eyes. Often I would hear him sighing deeply, almost as if he wished every breath to be his last. It broke my heart to see him like this. I felt so utterly helpless. Meanwhile, the Countess's brother and sister came to take away all her things. They'd asked after Kaspar, and I told them, as I told everybody else, that he'd disappeared. In the Countess's sitting room, they stood by the piano for a while and cried on one another's shoulders. I found myself looking again in the mirror, where I'd often caught a ghostly glimpse of the Countess. I did not see her this time, but I felt her presence. I made her a silent promise then and there that I'd not let Kaspar die. As it turned out, Kaspar didn't die. He was saved. But I have to say that it has nothing whatsoever to do with me. In the end, Kaspar was saved by happen chance, by pure happy circumstance. I had seen the Stanton family about in the hotel, but to begin with had paid them little enough attention. They seemed a lot like other rich families that came to stay for a month or two in the hotel. They were American, father, mother, and a little girl. Both the parents seemed rather stiff and prim and proper, even a bit standoffish, which in my experience was not at all like most of the American guests I'd met in the hotel. The little girl was different, though. She was about 7 or 8, I guess, and was always in trouble, always being ticked off by her mother. She was forever wandering off on her own and getting herself lost. As I was soon to learn, getting lost didn't upset her one bit, but it did upset her parents, particularly her mother, whom I'd often seen hurrying through the lobby in search of her. It was from her mother one breakfast time that I learnt the little girl's name. "Elizabeth! I'm looking for Elizabeth," she said, rushing up the stairs into the lobby from the Riverside restaurant. All her usual composure was gone. There was a wild and anxious look about her. "She's run off again. Have you seen her? Have you seen her?" Fortunately, Mr. Freddy was nearby. He was always good in the situations. "Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Stanton. We'll find her for you. She hasn't come through the front door, so she's got to be in the hotel somewhere. Young Johnny here will look upstairs. Every floor, Johnny. Make sure you search every floor thoroughly. And meanwhile, Mrs. Stanton, I'll have a good look around for her down here. We'll have her back with you in a jiffy, lickety-split. You'll see." He clapped his hands at once at me. "Off you go, Johnny lad. Jowdy, jowdy, sharp about it now. There's a good lad." An hour later I'd searched every floor of the hotel, high and low, and there was still no sign of her. I was about to check downstairs to see if Mr. Freddy hadn't already found her, when I wondered if I should check the servants' corridor up in the attic. I thought it very unlikely she'd be up there, but Mr. Freddy had told me to search every floor, and besides, I remembered my own childhood. Well enough to know that children like to hide in the most unexpected places, so I climbed the stairs to have a look. From the far end of the corridor I could already see that the door to my room was open. I knew at once she must be in there. As I stole along the corridor, I could hear her talking inside my room. "Good cat," she said. "Nice cat. Beautiful cat." I found her kneeling at the foot of my bed. Beside her was Kaspar, eating ravenously from his bowl, wolfing down the liver I'd left for him and purring like a lion.